Hell yeah, barroom banter. We got kicked out of Cottonwood here today, so we got some up and coming shows here at the outskirts on the 19th.
We do. Well, yes, we do.
Right. Anything else going on?
Yeah, we've got stuff out at the Desert Bar out in Parker. We've also got Sedona coming up at the Enchantment Resort.
Oh, nice.
We have also
the Potato Barn. Don't forget.
I forgot about that.
Potato Barn in Mesa.
Hell yeah.
And then the casino, Cliff Castle Casino. Yeah, that's in May.
Nice.
And so we got some good shows going on.
We're trying to get you up and out of Arizona. We want a tour, right?
Well, yeah. Well, but,
we're just talking about doing a 3-day stint down in Parker.
Havasu.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. We got like stuff going on in Havasu too, also. So, yeah, it tends for our band that we play out of town.
Okay.
So,
out-of-towners love us. We don't
for some reason, we're loved out of town.
Yeah, you got kicked out of Cottonwood.
Well, in town, I don't know. I guess our name kind of.
Well, we thought
pisses
we
people
town,
off.
But and reality is they're really not the competition for us. They're not in the same league, so we prefer to play out of town as opposed to just doing the Whiskey Row stuff. And so
he says that with full humility too.
Yes. He's very humble.
We're trying to be, we want to be competitive and everything, but they're really not in the same league as us. So those guys do what they do, and we do what we do. And we're getting pretty
not to sound all high and mighty, but they were a bunch of losers and we're winners.
Hell yeah. Well, make sure you check out the end of this podcast because I'll put some clips on this of these guys singing.
Well, one good thing is you play out of town, you get 800 to 1,000 to 1,200. And in town, you're lucky to get $400.
You play out of town and you don't have to watch your back after you piss everyone off.
Yeah. Isn't that the truth? You're absolutely right. That's true.
That's way easier that way.
Yeah. For some reason, we have kind of a reputation, and I don't know why it happened, but
No, they're pretty good. You guys got to check them out. And I will post clips on the end of this. So,
well, thanks, Alex. I mean, what a great show you've got going here.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I've been watching. I mean, you're cracking me up. This is a great show, man. I mean, you sit down, drink beers. I mean,
what a format.
I was in Vegas 3 weeks ago, right? And this old dude comes up and he goes, "You want any Coke?" And I'm like, what? How does that happen to me everywhere I go?
And what a dope. He didn't know you were a Pepsi guy.
Were you wearing those shades?
Exactly. I was wearing the shades. How'd you know that? He's like,
it's like Fear and Loathing when you're in Las Vegas.
And he happened to be black, and and he's like, damn, that boy, I think he needs some Coke.
Make that crack. I think he needs some crack.
I think he needs some Coke. So it's funny. So I didn't hear it because I don't hear it very well anymore because I've been playing rock and roll too long. And so my wife goes, "Did you hear that? He just offered you some Coke." I'm like, shit, why does this happen to me everywhere I go?
So what's the craziest shit that's ever happened while you've been up on stage? Any fights? Any fucking
man.
Titties
oh my
out?
God.
No, that's
you name it.
The Jersey Lilies night. I think that's probably the best one I've seen.
Oh yeah. That was that. Yeah.
We were singing songs to her.
Yeah. What was I singing? Here's a quarter.
Someone who cares.
Yeah. And she was just hot.
She thought that was for her.
She was so pissed off. And for some reason, she thought that I was singing that to her, and I wasn't singing it to her. I was just a song, and she was pissed.
But she comes up mid-song.
Yeah.
And interrupts us.
Yeah.
And you were interfacing with her, but the rest of the band didn't know what was going on. Some fan coming up wanting to get the signature.
Yeah, so
asking for a quarter so she can get a hold of someone.
Yeah,
well, you can tell me to do it. Give me a quarter.
And there was no one.
So we told her to, hey, you got to go, because she was definitely drunk, and that's fine, but she was really aggressive. So I finally I went over, got Danny, and I said, Danny, man, she's got to go. Well, she wasn't leaving, so what happened? My wife marches right up there.
Red-headed rattlesnake. Yeah.
Guess what? She left. She left real quick.
I can see that. She's a firecracker.
She's a red-headed rattlesnake.
That's right.
Yeah. So you guys are really great around Prescott, right? You're really well known, and you're trying to get your name out there a little further on social media and everything else, and trying to push yourself, trying to get tours and whatnot. What's the final goal? What do you want to do?
I want to be a fireman.
But yeah,
there we go. We got songs for that.
Yeah,
a little Garth Brooks.
I think at this stage, for me anyway, it's I would like our music to be heard as far as our originals and stuff like that, and they're thought based, and I think the rock star thing has passed me by.
Too open.
Yeah, exactly. I did that in the '90s, and kind of done with that. But you never know. I mean, it's very satisfying to play music in front of people that actually have heard your stuff, and we have people that come out and see us all the time, and they're singing the lyrics, and I'm blown away by that. And it's the coolest thing ever.
I'll bet.
It is. And then we've got 2 great guitar players, great bass player, great drummer. It's just fun.
So it's a 5-piece.
It is a 5-piece. Yeah. We we're very fortunate we found each other.
Absolutely.
Especially in this town.
So what's your favorite part? Is it going up on the stage? Is it writing the songs? Is it just sitting down at practice?
My favorite part, I think, is I think it's live. playing live.
Playing live.
Yeah, playing live. And you know, when I hear what's going on with the rest of the band, and they're so freaking tight and they're so good, you know, it just spurs me on. Because I'm basically a soul singer, you know, singing country, and I don't know, it's just you can't explain it. Being on stage and just when I sing, it goes through my whole body. I hurt my back, and I didn't realize when I hurt my back. Then when I sing, it goes down it goes everywhere. I mean, and it's just like I have to take 8 ibuprofens before I get up and sing. I'm not shitting you.
Or else he craps his pants. And then it gets real ugly.
This is a shitty situation.
That's a shitty situation right there, brother.
So Outskirts on the 19th, come out and join us.
Yeah.
Man, we'll be out on the patio fucking rocking away. Dude.
Yeah. I'm hoping for some better weather, but either way.
Better than what, dude? It's been freaking great.
No, I know. Supposedly it's going to be cold. But here's the thing about, you know what I love about being on the patio? So the reason we did the Desert Bar is we're out on the patio, and the Desert Bar is a big deal. I mean, you know, it really is. It's a huge deal. And we're playing, and the guy, the owner of the Desert Bar, he's just tooling around, hears us from Whiskey Row, and he goes, "What the fuck is that?" And he drives over, and he's like, "Holy shit, who are you guys?" And then he sits down and he says, he goes, "I'm the owner of the Desert Bar, and I've heard of it. I've never been there." And he's like, "You have to play our place. You just have to." And wow, what a great experience that was.
It was.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah. What do you think, Fred?
Well, I think it was interesting, but I was, you're back to what you're asking Robert about his favorite part. I think this guy writes some really great songs. I mean, his stuff is like commercial, hit stuff. He has a couple songs that first time I heard, I said, that's a hit. That is a goddamn hit. I listen to hip hop music for all my life, and I hear something like that. It's got catchy lyrics. It's got really good lyrics, and the song's well done. And so he does write. Robert writes a lot of good songs, tells the stories well with the songs, and the guitar players come in, they do the harmonies, and they have it brings a great feeling. It's just nice to hear original music because you heard everything already.
Absolutely.
I've heard the Beatles and the Stones and the Doors and, the rockers and the disco guys and the rappers. And it's like, when you hear something original, it hits you and you say, man, that's cool. Why can't people really bring something like that to the table? Nowadays, you don't hear any music that's like memorable. It's like a lot of the country stuff we do, some of it's older, but most of it comes from some of the writing. And I think we bring a unique sound to the writing with the new music and things like that. But, it's like, there's nothing, I haven't listened to the AM or pop hit radios in probably 20 odd years, and because I've heard it so many times and, you want to get away from that, but
I think my head's going to explode, dude. I mean,
no, it's
you
really
got to
cool.
believe in your band.
I'm basically, when Robert found me, it was Robert, Jeff, and the drummer, James, but I did a pickup gig with him at the Outskirts.
I'm Brian.
And Brian wasn't there that night.
Oh, I didn't know that.
No, it was just Jeff.
Oh, okay.
And so, I'm basically a blues guy. I don't know any of this country stuff. I've done it for about a week. I had a chance to go through it.
That's true.
And it's like, I was really, I'm struggling to wrap my head around it. I just don't, it's not my thing, And so, but Robert saw something in me and he's like, hey, the guy can play. I want to work with him. I want to bring him on. And I had a hard time. with the drummer. He was pissing me off. And so
this is hysterical. This is a great story. Check this out. You'll love this, Alex.
All right. Hell yeah.
Well, hell yeah. Preclude this though, but he and the drummer look amazingly like brothers, which is the funniest, most ironic.
Which is the strangest thing about it because they do. They're the same size. They look like brothers. So this is a great story. So he's played the songs maybe twice, and
40 odd 50 songs.
Right.
Man. I'm like, I'm cramming this shit.
So he's trying to figure this out, and I could tell the guy could play. And so finally, anyway, the drummer, he starts rolling his eyes, and and kind of like, you look back and he's making fun, and this and that.
He's pointing a stick at me, and he's like, oh, and he's shaking his head because I missed the change. It's like I didn't even know it was there, dude.
So he turns around. He's a lefty. He turns around with his bass. There's very few left-handed bass players, right? He turns around with his bass and he goes, "Hey, you want to fucking play this thing?" And he like shoved it at him, and it was fucking great. And the look on the drummer's face was,
he's like, he says, "Well, dude, didn't you practice the songs?" I do. I told him, I said, "Dude, I don't play that shit, man." And I said, I'm not a country player. I'm a blues guy. I come in and I'm just trying to learn this shit. I told him, I says, "Don't make faces at me, pound the drums harder." Because I just, I don't give a fuck, man.
So this like in between sets, this is going on.
No, I was ready to kill him. I walked in the bar and I had a drink, and his wife was there, and she talked to me for a little while because I was going to go back out there.
Yeah, the redheaded rattlesnake is trying to calm him down.
Took her to calm him down.
My wife, the redheaded rattlesnake. That tells you how bad it is.
Yeah.
And then there was this old man, jackass, he kept messing with us because it was like he thought it was too loud or whatever. And I said, sir,
oh yeah, try to be cool
just
about
go.
it. Go sit
if
in the
you
bar.
don't, if you don't like it, then go. And then he kept being a dick, and then finally I was like, that's it. I go, that's it. You want to fucking go? Let's go. And then I couldn't take it anymore. So then he finally leaves, and then he goes, if you were going to fucking sock him up, I was going to punch his ass up. I had enough of it. Fuck. What the fuck?
You're too loud. He says, get the fuck out of here.
Man, that'd probably be the worst, getting hassled while you're fucking trying to fucking think.
Well, you usually get, you get the drunks trying to heckle you or something a little bit, but for the most part, if we're on, ain't nobody going to say nothing.
Yeah.
Other than you guys are great. That's it.
Do you remember at the Harp? So I've known Jeff for years. Do you remember we were playing there one night, and this guy got, a guy and a girl got so drunk that they fell on the stage. They're walking by the stage and they just crashed.
Well, in all fairness to them and their drunkenness, the stage at the Harp was something that could easily happen to anybody, because it was on your way to the bathroom, and it was, they actually extended it out with like milk cartons, like when the bands would play, because otherwise it was only 3 feet by 4 feet.
Oh shit!
Barely enough room for a drum set. Yeah, it was really bad. But he's right. You'd see these couples, and some of them were like the dance floor was right in front of the stage too, and it was just lethal because people would be spinning around, and they'd hit these milk cartons that were just ill placed, out into the dance floor.
I think I've seen everything. I mean, in my career, I've seen everything happen.
Titties come out.
Yep. Yep. I think I've seen it all. When I was a kid, the Crips knocked these teeth out, so I had a retainer, and I'm in Hollywood, and I'm singing at the Whiskey, and T's and S's put a lot of pressure, and the damn thing came out into the crowd. Into the crowd, and luckily this girl dove for it. She handed it back up to me, man. But yeah,
Can you sign this?
I've seen it all. I really have.
I watched a girl projectile vomit on herself and 4 of her friends and a couple of poor unsuspecting people that happened to be standing by them on the dance floor.
That'd be the worst.
At what club was this? We were playing.
Perks?
I forget the club. It might have been. It was
probably Perks.
Downtown Huntington,
it's probably
Southern
Perks.
California.
Yeah.
And these they were all spectacles because these girls were wearing clothes that were barely containing them. They were flying out, so everybody's watching.
Oh, they had pasties on.
Well, they were just they were drunken slobs at this point. And this one chick, she just blew chunk. She just stopped in the middle of the dance floor and just like one of those little things that spins around.
Oh no!
Like your water that goes on your front lawn with the water. It sprays your lawn. Yeah. She just sprayed all her friends, and they were all so drunk. All they knew how to do was just go, oh my god, oh my god. They're looking at themselves.
Oh no!
We just kept playing,
dude. I'd be thrown up.
Oh my god!
Back on her.
But you know, we're a good band. We kept playing.
Absolutely.
We played through it.
So one thing I want to interject, to your fans, Alex is a great singer.
Yeah.
So when I used to come in, I used to come into JJ's that's now Outskirts, and he'd be singing along, and I'm like, man, that guy can sing.
Yeah,
I mean, that you really can.
Yeah.
I mean, do you want to do some acapella right now?
Yeah, not so much.
Whoa, my love. Come on, you do it.
This dude sings.
You can do it. Come on, man.
I don't sound that good, bro.
Oh, you do.
Yeah.
No,
have 10,000 people out there making fun of me. I don't care about that, though, actually. They do that anyway. What's your biggest show you've ever done?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Thousands? Hundreds?
Yeah, a couple thousand. I could shoot. I think in LA, a couple thousand, 3,000. What comes to my mind is the Roxy, and when it was just completely packed, and I would guess it'd be like 500 to 700. I don't know. But what about you, Fred?
Oh, well, I had I guess it was in the 90s, early 2000s, whatever. We did this blues band I was with. We opened up for Los Lobos.
Oh, okay, hell yeah.
Up in Santa Cruz, and they said it was 3,000. It was a cool place, man. It was like a big pit from where we were on the stage, but it was just like this wall of people, man. I was like, that was pretty cool.
Do you think the more people makes you more nervous or makes you more excited and more fucking pumped?
I think, if the energy's there for the crowd, then, you're kind of I'm not used to playing in front of large audiences. I usually small bar scene. And so you get up there and you're kind of awed. You're like, wow, look at that, man.
For me,
I hope they like us.
For me, it's a lot more like I got you, and I got you, and I can see it in your eyes. So for me, it's awesome. How about you, Jeff?
Well, out of all, you know what?
I Woodstock that one year.
Well, that place in New York back in '69.
Yeah,
there's
Acres.
Was that at the Motel 12?
Yeah, the Motel 12. They kept 2 lights on for you.
Yeah, 2 lights on.
Yeah.
At the Motel.
Then we went up to Poughkeepsie. We did the Nut House.
No, but I said, honestly, Alex, the outdoor gigs that I've done several fairly big ones. I can't even remember where.
Orange County.
Back for years, but I'll tell you, the most fun I ever had was being able to play the Cuckoo's Nest.
Oh my God!
Which was an iconic punk club,
absolutely,
owned by
Is that L.A.?
No, this was in Placentia, near Costa Mesa, Orange County, California, Southern California. And in fact, it's in movies and everything. There's even a documentary out on it. Jerry Roach, the owner of the club, became a friend of me and another buddy of mine.
Who's a huge star.
And he had this club that was bringing in the riffraff of the day. It was like nobody else
kind of crowd, man.
Yeah, that's what it was.
It was like CBGB of
exactly.
West Coast CBGB.
Right, it was the equivalent of that because nobody else was letting these bands play anymore. No. And through those doors, the Cuckoo's Nest, came all these bands like Agent Orange, the Circle Jerks, what's his name, Mike Ness. All those groups were playing there on a regular basis. So to be able to play there was really kind of, at the time we thought, this is just a shit club, and it was a shit club.
Yeah, most of them are.
But it became this viewed afterward iconic piece.
That's
of
like the Dollhouse down in
same thing.
Yeah,
and that was we played
or the Ice House in Santa Monica.
Uh-huh. Yeah, all those clubs.
Right.
Those were probably the most fun. I mean, some of the outdoor festivals were, a lot of them were down by the beach, and a lot of them were in big fields, and it was peaceful. And we all agree, I think, based on our last appearance at the Desert Bar a couple weekends ago, that we really dig the outdoor stuff.
Yeah,
and we like the outdoor stuff in Outskirts too, because there's the difference to the sound, the way we sound outside, it just carries better. Yeah, and I think it just spiritually makes us play better. I really do.
I completely agree, and it's nice to play for bar owners that actually are appreciative.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because unfortunately, I don't know what. Well, I'm going to say positive, but I don't know what's happened to a lot of the clubs where you're just a piece of meat. You come in, do your thing, you make them money, and you go.
Yeah.
And it's not that way at Outskirts. And they're good people, and you're a great bartender.
Hell
and, yeah. And it's
it's a fun place.
10,000 people have got to come and see Alex.
That's right.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Sit at his bar, sit down, and let this man serve you up. Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. Fucking banter right there.
It's a fun place. And I'll tell you what, Alex, at all the places we play at too, the best nights of tips we've ever received were always at Outskirts.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Really.
No shit.
Hands down.
No shit.
Most of those guys.
That's fucking good to know.
They surprisingly put a little thing out, and but at the end of the night, we kind of said, "Whoa, are you kidding me?"
Like unbelievable. C notes in the tip.
Yeah.
And not only that, so the backdrop of Outskirts is people are living up in the hills, and people walk down from their houses when they hear us, and they actually walk down because they're like, "Who the hell is that?"
Yeah,
that is cool.
The guy Matt, he was saying, the owner, he was saying,
yeah, people calling like,
he says, I'm getting phone calls, and I'm thinking it's all hate. Everybody want to shut that shit off, and he comes out and he says, "That's the best freaking band I heard." He said, "Whoa, man, I'm getting all these crazy phone calls." I'm thinking they're complaining.
Well, the people calling, they're like, "Are you the bar that has that band playing right now?" Yeah. It's like, well, they're awesome. Yeah. What's the name of them?
Well, absolutely nothing better than a local bar having fucking local band fucking playing with their original music too, especially. I'd like to hear a lot more of that. You know what I mean?
And the town appreciates it. Prescott appreciates the music.
Absolutely. And I've heard a couple of your original songs. You've sent me a couple, I think, and I've heard you post them and whatnot. And if you look for them, it's Kicked Out of Cottonwood.
K.O.C.band.
Yeah. And check them out, man. These guys are good.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, and like he says, I can tell he puts his fucking heart into it, his soul into it. He loves what he's doing. He sings his ass off, man. And these guys playing behind him, just fucking ripping it up.
He's a slave driver, man.
No, and he doesn't. You know what?
He says, you guys are going to get together Tuesday.
And he doesn't like the two.
My slaves just don't work right.
And here's the songs you're going to learn,
or else the beatings will continue until
morale improves.
But Robert, he doesn't like to toot his own horn. But as Fred stated earlier, I mean, when you play music locally, especially in a small town like this, there's so many bands and there's so much good talent out there, and maybe some of it is maybe some of it's not assembled properly, but there's a lot of great talent out there.
You're too kind there, Jeff. I'm gonna say you're really.
I'm trying to be a diplomat.
Yes,
so, but the funny part is, we've all heard Brown Sugar. We've all heard Rock and Roll by Led Zeppelin. We've all heard these songs that everybody knows and loves. I will not deny that they need that. A lot of times they're demanded by club owners to be on your playlist. But we've all heard that stuff, and we've all heard everybody's interpretations of them. And it's really refreshing when you hear some original music that sounds like something you think you've heard already.
That's what I was saying.
And I think that's the key
like,
to
when you hear
Robert's
that,
stuff.
You feel like you say, "Hey, I'm
kind
of on the cusp of like, wow, this is really cool," because I never played with original band. The guys I play with, we did one CD that had about 10 originals, maybe, But I think we should put an album together with a lot of the stuff that he has, and he's got some more in the pipeline. He just recorded
a lot more. Actually.
He just
how many
recorded
originals
3
do
more.
you have?
Right now, I think we're at 18 with this band, and
there's probably potentially 30 songs
at least.
Contributes.
That's why I said we should put an album thing together.
So we got 3 in the pipe right now, and I want to put a shout out to the Garage, Max Harms, who records us, and he does a great job at that.
Awesome dude.
Yeah, he's an awesome guy, and
he's to work with,
right.
Cool.
And we just did some stuff with John Smith Presley, who's actually Elvis's son.
Dope.
And that stuff's going on. There's 2 movies coming out about him. And to be fair, Brian Waterbury has been a great writing partner. I come with the raw ideas, but Brian, he puts a cherry on top of a lot of things, and so do you guys. And so it's not completely just me. It's more of my lyrics are Pretty hardcore. So
Well, you say he brings his stuff to the table, and he lets us the freedom to
He sparks the
my
kindling,
part. What should my part sound like?
well, that's true because I don't want to. I can't be a dictator. I can't stand that. I want everybody to have the freedom.
Yeah, the input
to do what you do, because that's what makes it magic. Because if it's just me, well, I mean, I could sit there and I could play all the things and except for drums, and I could do it myself, but
yeah, it has to go exactly like that.
Yeah, and I can't do that. So that what surprises me is when you guys, I go, do your thing, and I might say, a little bit more like, a Stones riff or this or that, but for the most part, I'm like, do your damn thing, because that's what makes it magic. Because I can't be a dictator in that regard.
Well, if it was, then like the third song, and you would say, "Geez, these all sound like something that's like been programmed."
Yeah,
right. And so, if you just one mind,
yeah, because we all kind of influenced from different players. I'm like blues and R&B kind of feeling things. Robert was rock, and Jeff, and now he's changing over. And I never played country, so I'm kind of like, well, okay, how do I deal with this stuff? And then Brian brings in a rock edge. He has a nice, the ability to really play nice stuff over just about any of his progressions. And the drummer is good. He just he's right there. He interprets the things, and then we have to say, hey, a little more like this, a little more like that. He'll say, hey, that bass riff, I gotta play this. I said, okay, and it goes in and says, sounds great. So
if I hear something that in my head that
clashing with his
if I hear something in my head that like I'll whistle it to him or I'll hum it and I'll go play this, and then Brian's really quick and Brian will hear it and he does it fast and then sends it to him, or vice versa.
Walks it over to me and says, play this, no, Fred.
or vice versa. So
I said, fine, like I said, because I don't have that wide range of influence. These guys, you hear different types of rock and things. And like I said, I've just been doing this thing for probably almost 20 years as a blues guy. And so I never really delved into this rock stuff. I heard it, but it was like not really interesting to me.
I've played everything but reggae and hip hop. I'm not into that, but have you played every genre? Or because I started out with punk, and then it was like Motorhead, and then went into rock. I never got into the spandex thing with those,
Yeah.
I never really got into that. So I played in this band, and Motley Crue used to, be across the street on Sunset Boulevard, and we'd all like yell at them and make fun of them because we were more like a Motorhead band, and they're all glammed up with makeup on and all that stuff. And I, luckily our guitar player was 6'4", huge. Yeah. So you know what? I want to ask you a couple questions about you.
Okay.
All right. So you started the Barroom Banter. How long ago did you start it? And
I started putting everything, piecing shit together about.
You could take a nap? All right.
I would say about a year ago, I started piecing shit together, and I didn't get the sound right. I had to figure it out. Like I'm retarded with computers and everything. So like I just didn't realize that I needed to switch, analog to digital and everything else.
Right.
When it comes to editing, I didn't realize what I had to do, what it entitles. It takes fucking forever.
Oh, it does. Absolutely. It does.
But I've been on social media with it for about 3 months, and on TikTok, I've got like 10,000 followers now.
Already.
Yeah.
That's amazing, dude.
Where do you find your podcast? How do people find it?
You go to YouTube. Actually, and the YouTube is going to have the full podcast. I'll put clips on everything else. You'll see it on Facebook, Instagram, Lemonade, fucking Clapper, TikTok. Like
and it just took off that quickly.
Oh yeah,
in 3 months, 10,000.
But how do they search you? What's your?
Hell yeah, Barroom Banter.
I mean, well, I think that's a smart Barroom Banter is a smart call
smart
name.
You're very smart. Stuff.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hell yeah, I appreciate that.
And so your friend John Bold.
Yeah,
he's got some.
Dude, that motherfucker's got like 50,000 just on fucking.
Man, he's got so many.
Dude, 50,000 just on Instagram. He's got like another 50,000 on Facebook.
Yeah, because he tells it like it is. I mean, from his point of view, not everybody has that point of view, and that's fine. I mean,
I believe, I like a lot of what he says, but he definitely
because it's
has a point of view.
Yeah, and everybody does,
Absolutely.
And that's another thing I would like to talk about is that it would be nice, if you're on this side or this side. Who cares? I mean, we're all Americans, and we all have opinions, and you don't have to hate the other person just because
not at all.
You
and that's
are kind of on the other side. Well, you have one view or not, or whatever. It's just
and that's kind of what I try to stick away from is like,
of course,
being one-sided. I just want everyone to have an opinion and put out facts.
Yes,
you know what I mean. Like
absolutely,
and have a good time. Fucking drink some alcohol, talk to my fucking friends. You know what I mean?
Absolutely,
that's what I'm here for. Like, if it takes off, it takes off. You know what I mean?
Right.
Fuck. How'd Joe Rogan start out?
Just like this.
Worse than this.
Oh, really?
I've seen his shit in the beginning. It was fucking. It was rough.
Oh,
dude. Yeah.
Oh,
but now, dude, the motherfucker makes like something stupid. Like I think it was like 30 million a month.
He's so far in front of second place in the podcast.
Just off of
he's way
YouTube and Spotify. It's like 30 million a month or something.
And he has great guests and he has great content. And, he's got it down.
He's the man.
Yeah,
dude, that dude's got to go.
He'll go for 3, 4, 5 5 hours. On a single show, which is like.
But what I like about him is like he. gets down to the real, like real.
Yeah.
You know, he gets it out of people.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You know, as far as being real, and you know, a lot of stuff that people don't want to talk about in regular conversation, polite conversation. He just
rips off that Band-Aid.
Yeah,
Let's go. Yeah.
Take out the Band-Aid. Yeah, and that's exactly what's so cool about that.
Oh yeah, and he
And
doesn't care. He'll have anybody on.
Yeah, and you know what's funny? You know, that's what this band is. The same thing. You know, we rip off the Band-Aid, and it pisses a lot of people off. But well, I don't know. I mean, you know, there's sunshine and rainbows and lollipops, and then there's real life.
Yeah,
you know,
Here's
and
K.O.C.
yeah, which is kicked out. And by the way, kicked out of Cottonwood was an actual joke. It was.
Don't think too hard about it.
Yeah. We were never kicked out of anywhere. It was just a joke. And
Great name though.
well,
absolutely.
Yeah, somebody said something, and then our other guitar player Brian, he said, "Well, that guy would get kicked out of Cottonwood," and I was like, "That's a perfect name."
right.
Yeah.
That's it. Hell yeah. And for those that don't know, Cottonwood's in Arizona, and it's not too far from Prescott. It's real close to Jerome.
Yeah, it's a beautiful place, but it's a small place.
Yeah,
And
it's just like that one block.
who could get kicked out of Cottonwood?
Yeah, right.
Because I mean, you'd have to be a mass murderer to get kicked out.
And then there'll be 2 people left.
Yeah.
The thing, like Robert was saying about, you know, we're not really kind of in and around town, which is kind of sad for us because a lot of people are not getting exposed to our music, and we're kind of in a league of our own. We're doing something that's not really available downtown, and I think that, you know, by neglecting us is forcing us to go out and get bigger audiences, and I think we're doing that. We're having a lot of success this year. I hope this year we book some big shows, and maybe next year do some festivals.
Well, there you go. You hear that? If there's a promoter out there that wants to fucking book, you guys can see a couple clips on the end of this and check them out on their site too.
That'd be awesome. Yeah. So we unfortunately, the cardinal sin of musicians is to take a side. And unfortunately, well, we put up a "Let's Go Brandon" flag at one of our shows, and and that just fucked us royally.
And this was a while ago too. This is what I mean.
And it stuck.
This was long before Fred and I were.
Yeah, and it stuck. This is like 4 years ago.
Yeah, they're still being graded,
maligned, hated upon.
You
guys,
fucking trend.
Yeah, you guys must be Hitler's child, or you know all that crap. And it has nothing to do with anything other than, you know, it's kind of a joke, but at the same time, it was like, well, we could kind of like smell the coffee that's happening, you know. And then, you know, what's weird about that is, like, I have half black, half white grandchildren that I love to death. And then people, you know, say that kind of stuff about me. I'm like, are you out of your fucking mind?
Yeah.
You know, it's just people just come up with their own shit because you think one way and then therefore you are this. No, that is not true.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people are just fucking angry, dude.
Yeah, what's happened in the last 10 years? I mean, people are just like,
well, it's weird too, because to me, it takes effort to be an asshole. It takes effort to be angry all the time. It really does.
Yeah.
You got to carry a lot with you. It's very easy to be a happy person and to just be imperturbable and let shit not bother you. I mean, when you really look at stuff and you line it up and you say, is this worth getting upset over? You're going to.
Well, I look at it as like, how the hell do you go
Absolutely.
through your day being so miserable all the time?
Exactly. Well, and it's your choice.
How do you guys do that day in and day out? No wonder you got problems.
They sure make a day long. That's for
People.
Well, we come from that. We come from a place where not too long ago. I mean, this is only, you know, this what we're experiencing now is pretty recent. We come from a place where it's like, hey, you know what? I like this and that. It's like, well, I like that. It's like, well, that sucks. Well, yours sucks. Hey, let's go have a beer.
Yeah,
that's what it used to be.
That's what
it always was. And now it's just like, man, you say, I'm going here, I'm going here. It's like, let's go have a beer. Like, fuck you. I'm taking you off my Facebook. I'm unfriending you.
Yeah, I'm unfriending you because I didn't like something you said.
It's such a hyper reaction. It's so crazy.
Hell yeah.
Damn it. I wish you were my Facebook friend.
It's Sunday, right?
It's the Lord's Day.
It is the Lord's Day.
The Lord's Day. He wants
On
you
the
to
Hey, Jeff, give me one of the.
On the 7th day, God said, "Drink beer."
Yeah, don't give me that one, man.
Wait, what?
He waited that long to say that?
It'll get you that. It'll get you that.
All that work, he got thirsty.
No, when he said, "Let there be light," he said, "Let there be beer."
Right. That's what I was thinking. He's like, man, I can see now. If I go
Turn the light on so I can see where my beer is.
now that I can see, let's make some beer.
Yeah.
Hell yeah!
Snack time, honey. Snack time, please.
Oh yes, snack. Oh yes.
That's my bell for my girl.
I know you told us that story. That's
for
my
birthday. I mean,
hey, that's
birthday.
That's a good girl right
I gotta
there.
get one myself.
Yeah. No, that's a good girl that gives you a bell because she's upstairs and you ring the bell.
Yeah.
She comes down and makes you a sandwich or whatever.
oh, she didn't give it for me. One of my friends got it for me.
Oh shit!
But
Oh fuck!
she
I'm in trouble
She
now.
definitely does come down when I hit that. I don't know if it's very happy though.
You ring that fucking bell one more time.
Hell yeah!
You have another fucking toe broke.
That's probably what it was.
Yeah, right. I accidentally hit the bell last night.
But when she comes down the
That
stairs,
was a 5-pound hamburger.
when she comes, just tell me this, please. When she comes down the stairs, does she say "Hell yeah"?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, honey, what can I get you?
Yeah, she's real nice.
I was napping, but I heard your bell go off. So what can I do for you?
Well, it's actually
I'm
pretty
sure that's the way it
innovative.
goes down, right?
Okay, you guys are misogynist pigs.
Gotta be
I mean,
something.
it's kind of innovative, right? You know, she'll know your text, 3 or 4 times.
Ding ding.
You can't tune out the bell, man.
That's pretty. That's pretty opulent. Ding ding. I mean, really,
Yeah.
Alex.
You could have
Man.
a beer and a sandwich.
And it's 2 rings, right? It's not just. It's like
No,
ding, ding, yeah.
two rings because I want a grilled cheese.
Yeah, one's just a coffee.
It becomes a Morse code.
And by the way, I can tell this place is really clean. So, ding ding.
Give her 3 dings for happy.
They keep dinging, honey, I don't hear the vacuum.
Okay, we're gonna get hated on again.
Right.
We're gonna be hated on again.
No, I got
Yeah,
that
yeah.
vacuum for you
Man.
for
Oh, yeah,
Christmas.
I got
Man,
Yeah.
we just cannot stop fucking ourselves up.
Yeah,
well-
I mean, we're hated by everybody because
And it's all in the
oh wait,
presentation. We've told ourselves that.
because we're human.
Oh,
yeah.
Remember that movie with it was like James Caan? It was like he was a story writer. He crashed, and this lady was trying to help him. He had broken.
Yeah.
So he wrote a book or something. She kept saying,
No, he was the author. What's it called?
Yeah. Something like Misery.
Misery.
And so in the middle of the night,
that's a great movie.
yeah,
Misery.
he kept trying to
Great.
get away.
She puts the
tied
4x4
his ankles together with a 2x4.
No, 4x4 in between his ankles, and
Oh,
then hit him on the
man.
outside with a sledgehammer.
Yes,
Oh,
yes,
fuck.
oh yes.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
fucking
Bateman.
ruthless.
Bateman.
Yeah,
Bateman.
that was-
Yeah.
And the thing that really struck me, she's like, I get really sad when I get the blues.
That's Kathy Bates.
Kathy Bates. Oh, Kathy Bates. I'm sorry. Yeah, Kathy Bates.
Yeah, James Caan. Brutal scene.
It's
Brutal.
fucking wild.
So did you hear that Ireland's going to put 300% tariffs on us until we take Rosie O'Donnell back?
Oh my god. I guess we're sticking with the tariffs.
Go tariffs.
They want her out so bad.
She was yours.
They want her ass out so bad. They're going to 300% tariffs.
You're not fooling us with the O'Donnell name. Fat lesbian cow.
I mean, how did she get to her position? I mean,
Man, I don't know because like even sucking people off.
I
you want
know.
that?
Yeah, no.
God damn,
no.
Yeah, we know she didn't do that.
No,
She
no,
wasn't
no.
sucking anything
There's not
up.
enough Viagra in the world
It
for
was
that.
it was
Or
plastic.
Cialis,
right?
or no, thank you.
That was fraud, man.
She's one of the worst. She's not even funny.
Yeah, that's
The
the
bitch
hard
isn't
part.
even fucking
That's the
funny.
hard part. It's like you're looking at it, it's like, where's the joke?
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
I don't get you. How did you even get popular? You know?
yeah. Horrible.
Yep.
Horrible.
Right.
Well, that's kind of with a lot of the Hollywood stuff. It goes through the, what do you call it?
The machine.
Yeah.
It's just the fucking machine.
Well, you see, this is so this is fucking up Hollywood right now.
Yeah.
These
media?
no, I'm just talking. I'm just talking about the ability for people to actually communicate to the world, and they don't have that ability to do it anymore.
Yeah.
And they're a bunch of whiners now because podcasts and
They don't control everything.
they don't control it anymore. You remember, back in the day, Tommy Marola or all these. You had 8 guys, whether you were going to make it or not, and you had you literally had to suck dick.
The casting couch.
Yeah, or you weren't going to make it. Now, fair play. And that's what's great about podcasts. That's what's great about what you're doing. It's amazing because it takes their power away, and they needed to have their power taken away because they don't represent the 9-to-5 guy who goes and works his fucking ass off, and gal that works her ass off. They don't represent us. They're all high and mighty. And that's what podcasts are. That's why Joe Rogan's good. I mean, that's why all these things are great because it's taking their power away.
Yeah, you
absolutely.
bypass the filters that they
Yeah.
send in there.
then.
Yeah, they
Hey,
held the
John
media.
Wayne.
They held the power of the media
Yeah.
for so long.
Oh my god, forever.
For so long, and it's only gotten worse really on media because like Facebook, YouTube, all these things. There's certain things on each different like platform that you can't talk about. Like you can't say the word gun, or you can't say the word death, or you can't say the word this or that.
Fuck off.
But I don't give a fuck,
Dude.
Yeah.
So our song "Bullets First," right?
Yeah.
So it got like, I don't know.
This is how fucked up people are. This is how wacky.
It got like
people are.
1.2 thousand views. So I decided, okay, let's boost it, right? So put $50 in and let's see where it goes. Facebook comes back to me, and I thought that Zuckerberg was going to like knock off the nanny state.
Yeah.
No. This song is too political. Why is it political? It's our Second Amendment. You could take my guns, bullets first. What is wrong with that?
How do you find this song?
Well,
do you have it on YouTube? Do you have it on
not yet because it's being produced in the studio right now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
There are some live cuts of us doing it.
right.
that are
There,
on
yeah,
Facebook.
there are a lot of live cuts.
Yeah, there's a few live videos of us doing. Well, and the thing about the song too is, it's really singing about Second Amendment rights. There's nothing offensive about it, and just to show you the absurdity of people and the way that people just want to interpret things a certain way. You can tell when they see something and it's not a subject matter that they're comfortable with, they want to turn it into some bullshit that it's really not. So somebody even commented on the post of that, like, well, "Don't you have kids? You know what guns do to kids?" Like a comment like that.
What do guns do to kids?
Like apparently they're just
It's what people do to kids.
and no insight.
Yeah.
They never listened to the song. They never read the lyrics. They have no idea what they're talking about. It was a knee jerk reaction because they saw guns, and guns is a trigger word for them, and that's what they did.
Wants to kill man, man's going to figure it out. It doesn't matter whether you have guns or not.
That's
But
right.
the thing is what keeps the peace actually is if you're afraid to go into somebody's house and steal from that person because they might have a gun, Guess what?
That's a good deterrent.
That's
It's a great deterrent.
Yeah,
Thank you, Jinx. Show me a
and
Coke.
nobody gets killed, and nobody gets hurt, and nobody gets shot.
Exactly. That's why we have, in Arizona and in Texas and everything else. That's why we have less crime than California,
Absolutely.
where people are going in and just raping, pillaging, stealing, killing all the time. And Chicago, Illinois, same thing. Come on.
And it's crazy, and that's what we let these places get to, because like California, like you're taking all the guns away.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck is that, dude?
That's
And, like,
what you do.
that's when you're going to get more mass
When the
shootings
state
with these
disarms
schools.
you, that's the first step. First of all, they take control of the media. They get rid of all the. This is like classic.
Absolutely.
Fascist takeover crap. I mean, it's textbook, and we see that going on in California. I mean, that's why none of us live in California. To be honest with you,
That's exactly why we
I
left.
had to get away from that crap.
Me too.
I lived in a state that was beautiful. I grew up in that state, and it was a great state back when it was a red state. And I say that unequivocally because it was. Things changed when the Blues started taking over.
It flip-flopped.
It flipped, and it became bad. It
Yeah.
became really bad. Lots of things happened, and I do believe, without anything to substantiate what I'm saying, gut feeling, I think it's a rigged state. I don't think it'll ever be a red state again.
Yeah,
As
No,
far as I can
absolutely
see.
not.
Wow.
Unless you can, like, Gavin Newsom, that motherfucker's got to go.
Well,
That
who's
is about
voting?
the worst.
So that's what I mean by a rigged state. It's like when you see
voting
people
for
like
him?
exactly
Everyone hates
who the hell is reelecting all these people that are doing such a horrible fucking job with that state?
Yeah,
But don't you love his podcast where he's actually flip flopping on his own stuff?
Yeah.
And all of a
Well, that's
sudden
the art of
now,
politics.
Wasn't
Right.
that,
he's trying to renew himself.
Charlie Kirk did that.
Yeah,
with him.
yeah.
It just fucked him up.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, his shit's crazy because that whole fucking he had the Marshall Plan, the 2028 Smart City since like 2019. Then all of a sudden, they're not wanting to sell Palisades. All that fucking shit burns down right when he's trying to put this rail system in the Smart City.
Yeah.
Same thing happening in Maui. Guess what? That fucking
Kinda
toxic Bill
trendy.
Gates fucking bought up 25,000 fucking acres in Belmont, Arizona.
Mm-hmm.
And he's proposing a smart city plan in Belmont, Arizona. And there's other rich elites that have bought up a lot of acreage out there too.
I didn't know that.
Oh yeah.
I didn't know that.
Right over here.
So
Fight the
here's
power.
what I want to know. I mean, and we're digressing from music and all this stuff, but I want to know how the hell did Arizona become a purple state and close to blue? How the hell
'Cause it's
did
close
that
to
happen?
California.
Because Californians have come over in the
That's
last
it. It's the influx of
10
California.
years horribly crazy.
Nothing else makes
Like-
sense. It's got to be.
And they say they hate the politics there. That's why they're coming here. But then they're trying to
They bring it
turn
with them. I know.
exactly into what they are there.
Well, it's the victimhood culture, because if you're a victim,
And I'm not saying every
no,
Californian.
I know, because we're not.
Because we're good ones.
But it's a victimhood culture, I think, that we have to feel sorry for certain groups and people.
Well, they're
and that
marginalized,
that
yeah.
makes you feel good as a
Those are
person.
motherfuckers that
That's
grew up with Barney.
bullshit.
That's all the DEI stuff.
Yeah, it's bullshit. You know what? Again, I have half black, half white grandchildren, and the hell no, they're not going. You know what? It doesn't matter. It's like eye color. Skin color means nothing.
Yeah.
It's a joke.
I'm gonna hate
It's
you
a-
because you have blue eyes.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, fuck you, you blue-eyed motherfucker.
Yeah, which is exactly what I have. But yeah, you're right. The blue-eyed devil. But come on, let's grow up. I mean, and that state. So they people have deep feelings, and that's what music's about. I have deep feelings myself.
Absolutely.
And when you have deep feelings, you expound upon them and all this stuff. And the thing is, for me, why the hell are these people, taking victimization and this and that, and then making a lot of money on it and making a lot of like noise about it? And because it's so easy for you to be powerful, because I am going to save you. No, each man, each woman has the chance to save themselves in the greatest nation on the planet.
You just wrote a song.
I think you're right. Wish I will.
And you know what? And we lament every day we wake up. It's hard to be perfect. It really is. And I say to Rob, I said, when you get up in the
I'm the most
morning,
flawed person on the planet.
and imagine how those flawed people feel. When they wake up in the morning, and
That's me.
They just don't have it going on like we do.
Yeah.
So thank God for us.
I am happy to be living in the United States.
Oh my God, I've been all around the world, and I'm telling you, this is the best place ever.
I mean, you wouldn't be as free to do your music.
No.
Most
Oh well, but at the same time, we still have 20 years ago, our music wouldn't have been fought against. It is now.
Absolutely.
And so what is going on in our country where you can't speak your mind? Like in the punk days, you could say anything you wanted, the most vile stuff, and everybody was like, yeah.
Well, and Rob, there's a lot of factions can still do that.
I mean,
and we're virtually blackballed from a lot of places in Prescott because of our opinions.
You're not woke enough.
We didn't cause any trouble. It's just,
and nobody signed up to get on the woke train. I mean, I don't even know how this got recognized.
Okay,
it's so stupid because I always say, write a song and put the song out there and let people just interpret what the fuck they want. I love the mystery of not saying what your song is about. Let somebody read the lyrics.
Isn't that like the best song is when you interpret it your own way as a consumer?
I don't know what he said there, but I'm going to throw my own word out.
It's called double entendres, triple entendres, where I try to do that the best I can to say something, and at the same time it can mean so many different things.
They're using metaphors, to
euphemisms, metaphors, right? And so I've heard this too. When we go sing our stuff, people say, I thought you meant this, and I'm like, that's exactly what it's supposed to mean, but it's not what I meant.
It's,
But that's how they interpret
That's how they interpret
it.
And so
that's how they feel it in their soul.
That's exactly what it means. Because that's what it
Exactly.
means to you.
Because everybody's going around singing some word that they couldn't figure out in the song all day long. But I like the way it sounded.
That's why a lot of those like Red Hot Chili Peppers, the heroin songs, and
right?
Because they're taken so many different ways,
right?
Everybody can just interpret it their own way and be like, "This is beautiful."
It's like an oral AURAL painting, if you will. Everybody's going to listen to it, and they're going to get whatever they get out of it, and they're going to interpret it. I mean, how many of us listened to songs growing up, and just before the internet came out, where you thought he was saying this, that, and that in the lyric line, and then you find out later when the fucking internet's here, and we can read the lyrics. It's like, wow, he wasn't even saying anything close to that, right?
I see that all the time, and I'm like,
it
doesn't sound right,
and that skews your perception. I mean, you think something different now about that song.
He made that lyric up, man, because that's not what I hear.
Well, exactly.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, people say Purple Haze, a line where he says, "Excuse me while I kiss this guy." I'm like, okay, you really think that's what he's saying there? Yeah. That is absolutely, somebody morphed that off of the real thing. That's not what he's saying. And nobody ever really thought that until somebody put it out there that he thinks that's what he's saying.
Exactly.
So it's a stupid interpretation.
So my point is like, they banned your video. What was it called? Bullets
First. Yeah.
Bullets First. Okay. They banned that, but it could have been taken 20 different ways, I guarantee it.
Absolutely.
Of course.
Like, and
Absolutely.
so how are you going to fucking be the judge of what should be banned?
Well,
Like, who the fuck are you? Where's our First
So
Amendment?
Elon
Where's our
has
First Amendment?
Elon has his minions, and so does Zuckerberg. And the problem is,
Well, Zuckerberg came out and he was like, Biden administration and the Democrats, they fucking made me.
Yeah, he fessed up.
Hey, I didn't really want to do this. I'm sorry that I had to do this.
I don't believe
will
that.
never do this again.
I do not believe that at all. I think
that's
that's
a word,
I think it's in his soul.
Yeah, he's a
That's in his soul. I mean, that's my interpretation, but that doesn't mean I'm right. And exactly, and that's like when people like have disdain against what we say, it doesn't mean they're right.
Get off my fucking show. You're wrong.
Get off my lawn. Clint Eastwood. Get off.
What a man did.
Get off my lawn.
That dude. What a man did.
Oh, he's the dude.
Yeah,
he is.
absolutely. And even his old, like now that he's older, his new like movies,
He's the
like
dude.
Mule and shit.
Yes.
What a great movie.
Yeah.
He has that facial character and the way about him that's like, he's real authentic. He does the cowboy thing. He's just like, dude, I thought you were real, the real thing, and like Kevin Costner when he did the remake of Tombstone, and it was so cornball.
Well, Costner is
acting
not
was so horrible.
Costner is not Clint Eastwood.
No.
But the only reason I don't like talking about Clint Eastwood is because my wife is in love with Scott Eastwood, his son. Yeah, no, what?
Sore subject.
Nah, it doesn't bother me. But Clint Eastwood is he's the dude. I mean, if there is an iconic figure that classically says man American, it's him.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of guys like The Rock.
Well,
Nah, he's classic American. He's
the Duke,
yeah. I mean,
Wyatt Earp.
again, it doesn't.
Yeah.
Well, even Mike Tyson. I mean, these guys are
He was a
Americans.
machine, but
They're Americans. I mean, they kick ass. They excel what they do. They kick ass. And there's no excuse. And they're not victims. And that's the thing I think about our music that pisses people off, because we're not victims, and we don't celebrate victimhood at all. We don't. Get off your ass and make something of your life.
Well,
There you go.
It's not like we put out a lot of flowery type songs. So we have.
Well, I have one I wrote about, for my wedding, which is very flowery, that we don't play.
Yeah.
Well, there's that one we
Well,
wrote
yeah,
about how
weddings.
men can menstruate. Yeah.
That's
a touching
Oh,
song.
yeah.
We'll be releasing
how
that.
men
So.
can menstruate.
Yeah. Because men can
lactate. Yes.
and they can have babies. Too,
male lactation.
I'd like to delve into different topics.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
I mean, for the sick and perverted.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's fucking awesome.
Oh, so we have another good song about it. It's called Weed Country.
Yeah.
So Weed Country was written about out in Chino Valley. There was a wedding that I went out to, and it was amazing. So we had half the people there were Mormons and half the people were drinking, and it was just amazing to see the dichotomy, right? And so they had axe throwing. They had
Wagon wheel changing.
Yeah. The whole thing. And they had the horseshoe pit.
Like the Amish guy, right?
Yeah.
Change wagon wheel 5 minutes.
It made such an impression on me, and out in the weeds, and then people are smoking weed.
Apropos.
No, I mean, not the Mormons.
God forbid.
Not the Mormon side, but the other side. And the Mormons didn't care, and we didn't care, and it was just a beautiful thing, because you can't have more of a 180. I mean, seriously, you have super religious, non-religious, and we all had a amazing time. It was so good. So we wrote this song called "Weed Country," and it's a double entendre, of course, and people are smoking weed and all that stuff. But it's really about, to me, like back when when people are actually free. You could just fucking do whatever the fuck you want.
You could throw a goddamn tomahawk out on you.
Exactly, dude. You could just do whatever you wanted
Back
to.
when you could buy dynamite.
Yeah, you buy dynamite. Go
M80s,
That's
M80s, yeah, and put it in mailboxes and stuff like that.
Go fishing with you.
I never did that.
I never did that. cherry bombs down the toilet. Boom!
I've seen those in movies.
I never did that.
Nobody ever did.
I heard stories about it, but
I've heard many stories about that.
I never did that. But back when you were free, and I think a lot of our music has to do with that freedom. I mean, it's like let's back down a little bit from the rhetoric. Let's back down from the hatred.
How do you feel about like knowing that you're fucking playing at some of these historical places where like famous people have stepped, like fucking cool. Doc Holliday and fucking Wyatt Earp.
Yeah, it's
all
cool.
These people,
really cool. It is cool. I mean, we did play all of Whiskey Row. Unfortunately, we had like some stuff that I wasn't. Again, just say, hey, thank you for bringing a great crowd and making us some money. Just give us a little bit of something. But instead, no. But yeah, you're right. It is cool. The Museum Club.
Oh yeah, I used to run that
up at Flag.
I ran that for 2.5 years.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Okay, so the Museum Club up in Flag. I mean, that's great. I mean, the best of the best have been there, and so it's kicked out of Cottonwood. And I'm not saying that we're anything like Waylon or anybody else, but it's cool to play those stages. Yeah, and it really does give me. It's reverent. You sit there and you're going, I'm on the same fucking stage as A, B, and C. And it's you're right. What a great question. That's beautiful. Thank you. I mean, because you do. I mean, you're sitting there and you're looking at all the pictures on the wall, and you're like, holy shit! Like, you almost want to get down and kiss the stage.
I had people come up like, what's his fucking Thomas Gabriel, which is like Johnny Cash's grandson.
Yeah.
And then Wade Jennings, Jennings' grandson. Shit.
Actually, Wade was just there a week ago.
Oh, was he?
Yeah. So
like
Rhonda Kretschmer, a gal I know, she used to own Mr. Lucky's down the Mesa, Phoenix area. Anyway, so Waylon was a good friend of theirs. And the funniest story she ever told me is, he actually had $10,000 worth of coke.
Oh shit!
And he comes into their house and he says, "I'm going to get sober."
I'm sober.
So he took a couple lines, and then he put the coke on the barbecue, and they lit it on fire. And for the next 14 days, they were trying to like stabilize him because he was such a mess.
Holy shit!
Yeah, but yeah, pretty cool.
And $10,000 worth of
and that was back then.
Yeah, that's what I'm like,
dude. You're talking about $100,000 of coke.
Dude, that's insane.
I know.
This is personal use.
Yeah. Fucking crazy. But they lit that shit on fire. He lit it on fire, and Rhonda and her husband, who owned Mr. Lucky's, which was the biggest country bar back 25, 30 years ago ever. And and she got to tell me the story. And that's a cool thing. People tell me a lot of great stories, and I process that. And because I process it, and I put it into our music, I really do. Because it's in the 90s, I went to a symposium of how to write songs, right? And you got all these like guys from Motown and all that stuff, and they come in and they said, "Look, go to the coffee shop, go to the bar, listen to people. You're not going to be able to write it all yourself. You can't. Nobody's. I mean, unless you're an Elon of music, nobody can do that. So listen to people and listen to the catchphrases. Like in a small town.
Hell yeah.
We don't date, we just rotate.
Yeah, right.
That came from the dude named Hillbilly.
Your turn.
Yeah, right. Because this guy Hillbilly, he goes, Robert. In a small town, we don't date, we just rotate, and then, the miss the turn thing and everything. And I thought it was funny and shit. So I was like, oh, I'm going to write that song. But it is fun to listen. If you really listen, there, you can write anything.
Mm-hmm. Somebody does a good turn of a phrase, and that's what catches you. You think, well, that's kind of a cool way, like you haven't thought of,
right?
Absolutely. But it's like, people have different stories. And it's like, I like the blues stuff. And so you hear a lot of these older, probably 40s and 50 black guys who are basically illiterate, and you hear them turn a phrase that's not proper English type of thing, and all of a sudden that kind of thing hooks
on you. It is fucking beautiful.
Yeah, it kind of hooks on you. It's part of his personality, and you can feel that kind of coming out in the music, and so it's like the old Muddy Waters and Sonny Boy Williamson, they couldn't, they didn't have proper English, of course, but it's when you hear that authenticity of the Southern black guy who was an illiterate, has the idea, he can turn a phrase. And so that's where you hear a lot of that stuff, But, it's like, you hear people just in casual conversation, and you think, hey, well, that was kind of cool the way you said that.
Right. And it's magic. Those guys, with the lack of education, how brilliant they were.
Yeah.
And how they turned this country on fire. They really did. Look at Elvis.
Yeah.
John Smith Presley is a friend of mine and ours. And, it's amazing how his dad was, he grew up in a tenement housing and in a black tenement housing thing, and what that did for him and what that did for America is astounding.
Yeah,
it really
absolutely.
is. It's just insane.
But that's like what was the
took over the world, not just America. It was the world.
You're absolutely right. It took over the. You're right. It took over the world.
Oh, dude, it was a revolution.
And where'd that come from?
He was.
That came from
the guy
black folk
Yeah, that guy that
Music
was,
and
produced
good
his first
promotional
record.
skills by
Yeah,
his
just
fucking
give me-
manager.
Just give me a white guy that can sing like a black guy.
Yeah.
And that's when Elvis came in. He did Hound Dog and stuff. This was kind of steeped in that Memphis thing. And so he was, all of his early hits are just old blues style things. But he had a nice, swinging thing with him going. Of course, the attention for his looks and moves.
Oh, and the acting. He went into all those
Hollywood,
all those bad movies.
Yeah, Hollywood killed him, man.
Yeah, he couldn't act, but that man could sing.
But
he
I
could put
watched
on
a
show.
lot of his movies. My grandma.
And his movies were hits.
Oh, they
as
were
bad
hits.
as they were. They were hits.
He was that
Who
boxer.
didn't love Rest About?
So, by the way, Keith Richards, in one of his autobiographies, says that the blues comes from Celtic, Irish
Yeah, I saw that
stuff,
Yeah.
and I don't know if that's true.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Well, it's kind of,
I don't know if Keith was high
But it's also
when he
like
said
because,
that. Who knows?
I'll fact
everybody
check
was
that.
doing
Yeah,
that
you
folk
should.
music,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know?
Yeah, you should.
And so, like, the
But
Germans were
Keith
doing
Keith
folk
does
music.
say that.
Yeah,
But it comes from Celtic roots, and I'm like, wait, hold on now.
It might have two chords.
Celtic and then African beats and
Well, if it came from Celtic roots, why did it go over to the North American continent before it made it back to England? Because the English were picking it up from us because we had a boom in the 30s and the 40s
because of Muddy Waters,
right?
and
And the
all
Brits
the
were
greats.
they were not experiencing that. If that was just a hop, skip, and a jump from them, they missed the boat on that one.
The blues come from the deep south of the United States,
Yeah.
primarily in the 1860s.
It's one of the
Whatever, he
greatest,
probably
one of the
heard it
greatest
somewhere else.
autobiographies I've ever written. I mean, written.
You ever read?
Read.
You ever wrote?
Read.
Wrote
was
something?
Keith
right.
Richards, and man, that guy, what a great.
Was
I mean,
that-
he had a writer, but man,
what a life!
Just-
I mean,
what a-
just
oh.
describing his life would be something
I
exciting.
always thought he was like, because he never really did all the interviews. They didn't chase him down like they did Mick. But I always thought, Keith, maybe he's not that smart kind of guy. And I saw
No,
him.
he's
I
No,
saw
he's
him on
brilliant.
TV, and this guy was so articulate
no, he's
and
he's
so
brilliant.
perceptive on all this stuff. And you thought, holy cow, that's the brains behind the Stones.
Yeah.
And so that was kind of like,
Well, that's the oddity of him is that his playing is so rudimentary. I mean, even right down to
Yeah.
taking that sixth string off the guitar,
Yeah.
and that open G tuning, everything about that, which just screams, lack of prowess, lack of guitar knowledge. That's the brilliance.
But-
Yes.
And then when you hear him talk, you see that's it's just a packaging.
yeah. But he always did like that raw rock kind of rhythmic thing, but it was kind of always steeped in a blues type thing.
Yeah.
And you don't really hear him doing it. That's what the Rolling Stones started out to be, and they stuck with it through their whole career. And that's how they are. They're basic rock and rollers. But the two icons are what's people like
Mick and
the
Keith.
Glimmer twins. It's like
Yeah.
they're always seen together. And then Charlie Watts, man, how can you go wrong?
So, I have a question. I'm either going to piss in this bottle, or I'm going to have to use your restroom, brother.
You have to go around the corner and piss in the bottle.
Whatever.
Whatever.